Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. All right. Everything sounds good. Welcome everybody to When Making Friday. Today is I'm one of your hosts. Today is Friday, July 6th, 2018. Today we're gonna have a good show for you today. We have a few topics we're gonna hit on. Usual, everything from cryptocurrency to stocks to world news involving economics. As always, the views and opinions expressed in this show are personal opinions. If you would like to get further insight or knowledge on what we discuss, you can always go to CFP.net. CFP.net is the CFP board, Certified Financial Planner, and it is box right here. Click on it. You can input city, state, or zip code, and you can find the nearest certified financial planner to you. So, all right, we got another host. How you doing, Mike? How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I'm good.
I'm well. I'm well. That's good. That's good. All right. Stop that. Okay. So, without further ado, let's get this thing started. All right. Our first topic comes from CoinDesk.com. This is by Madeline Ming Shi. This is from July 5th. And Block One appoints former Jeffries Asia CEO to lead VCR. Block One, the company that designed the EOS blockchain software, has appointed a former executive from Jeffries Group LLC to lead its $1 billion revenue capital arm. Block One announced Thursday that Michael Alexander, who previously served as the chief executive officer of Jeffries Asia branch, will now head EOS VC. Based in Hong Kong, Alexander will manage both direct venture investments and EOS VC partnerships. The startup intends to invest over 1 billion in the EOS.io platform through its venture arm, with plans to fund companies and projects already using the protocol. Approximately 700 million has already been allocated through VC partnerships in the United States, Europe, and Asia, the company said. Block One Group incoming president Rob Jesu Dasan said in a statement that the startup wants to support companies building on top of the EOS platform. He added, and I quote, "Our partnerships and investment efforts through EOS VC are critical in driving adoption and innovation in the EOS IO ecosystem. Alexander has extensive experience in investment banking and is one of the most respected individuals in the financial services industry in Asia. I am delighted he is joining the team." End quote. Alexander already has 25 years of experience in Asian capital markets, according to the release. Prior to his time at Jefferies, he held an executive position at CLSA Hong Kong and led the Asian proprietary trading department at Deutsche Bank Hong Kong. Block One is shaping the next generation of technology and the internet. The vision of its founders has resulted in it being one of the fastest growing organizations in the world, and I'm excited to be joining, Alexander said in a statement. His appointment comes weeks after EOS officially launched, but as Coindesk has reported, the nascent network has been beset by issues, primarily around governance. Indeed, the constitution on which the EOS network is currently governed may be rewritten entirely. All right, I read this article, and there's another YouTuber that I follow. He spoke on this article. Um, he made the comment that these blockchains, such as EOS, Ethereum, some of the top blockchains currently in the market cap in cryptocurrencies have the potential to become trillion-dollar blockchains. And with EOS hiring this guy to be a part of their um, VC arm, which are going to help fund other companies to build platforms, to build apps on top of the EOS platform. Me personally, I believe that what the other YouTuber said, this is a $1 trillion blockchain. And this can be potentially a $1 trillion blockchain in the future. And right now it's currently trading at between $8 and $9. But 5-10 years from now, you're gonna have people to come and say, wow, you could have bought EOS at this below $10 mark. But the VC arm, it specifically said that they're gonna not any, but businesses that they deem can be big on the EOS platform. Yes, they have the money, and they're going to continue to have the money to invest in those big businesses. And in the first paragraph, it says they hired him to lead. Oh, it's already $1 billion venture capital arm. So to me, this is good news. How about you?
Well, it's inevitable that these new technologies that are backing these currencies going to take um precedence over everything else. So EOS is the 2.0 blockchain to what Ethereum and Bitcoin was. The smart contract development of the blockchain is what's driving the adoption for it. It's kind of like what USB 1.1 was to USB 2.0. It was faster, it was more efficient, it had better communications capabilities. USB 1.1 wasn't really that efficient. It was very slow, it was cumbersome, you needed drivers for it. So what I'm saying here is that the adoption of EOS is based on the technology that's driving it itself, not so much as the currency. The currency just rides on top of the technology and it's exploiting its capabilities, and the ability to actually demonstrate how it's being used through a cryptocurrency just makes it even better. So my money has been behind the development of a more efficient blockchain, because as it stands right now, the way Bitcoin is mined and the way Bitcoin is used from a blockchain standpoint is very inefficient. It's very um, resource
Heavy.
re- well, resource heavy, but resource inefficient.
Okay. Yeah, and to back what you're saying, it is inefficient because I've heard that all the mining power to mine Bitcoin, because as the years go on, it's get harder and harder to figure out uh the uh mathematical process. But all of the mining power that's focused on mining Bitcoin is equivalent to one of these tanker ships. That's a lot of power going to mine Bitcoin. And that's like I said, as years go on, it's just gonna get harder and harder. So yeah, I agree. It's EOS is more efficient. I've been hearing this about EOS for the last couple months. It's more efficient. Like you said, it's blockchain 2.0, and yeah, and it's very just speculating. It's speculating on what it is and what it can be in the future. It's very cheap right now. It's about $8-9 right now. It's very cheap. So yeah. Let's see. So all right. Any other points on this one?
No.
All right. Cool. Our next topic, another one from CoinDesk. This one is from June 5th. This one is by Maiua Shin, Bittrex and Invest.com partner on new crypto trading platform. I believe Dollar Will like this one, so I'm gonna get to it. Bittrex, a US-based cryptocurrency exchange platform, and Invest.com, a fintech startup based in London, are set to launch a new EU-focused crypto trading platform. The collaboration, announced Thursday, aims to provide cryptocurrency investors with the ultimate platform to trade cryptocurrency in a safe and secure environment, according to a press release. The firms will leverage Bitrex's exchange technology and Invest.com's portfolio management experience to develop the new platform, the two companies said. Bittrex CEO Bill Shahara said in a statement that the companies hope to increase customers' access to some of the world's most innovative blockchain projects and further drive adoption of this revolutionary technology. Shahara added that the establishment of the exchange platform is only one part of the partnership, as it will soon expand globally through new services and strategic partnerships. That's pretty nice. While the platform will initially serve customers in the EU only, it also plans to offer services to other regions and countries with qualifications in future. Itai Afneri, a spokesperson from Invest.com, said, and I quote, "Our goal is to become the most reputable platform in the EU and later in numerous countries across the globe." End quote. This is, I like this. Uh, like it said, Bittrex is a US based cryptocurrency exchange. It's one of the top exchanges globally. It's no small fry. And Invest.com, which are one of our local chart technical analysis persons know all too well. They're combining to create this platform where you can trade cryptocurrencies easily and keep track of your portfolio all in one place. And on top of that, they specifically said, where is it? That the establishment of the exchange platform is only one part of the partnership, and it will soon expand globally through new services. So they're going to add new services and strategic partnerships. So you can do your technical analysis, keep track of your portfolio, and trade with a live crypto trading exchange, all in one. It sounds like. So who wants first crack at this?
Well, good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Good,
Hello, how you doing today?
Good. Yeah, that this particular story is kind of, it's like not that deep. They know that volume is coming. That trade volume is going to be out of this world, for cryptocurrencies, and whatever that small fee is that they get off of the trades, it's going to be mammoth, considering this volume. And when you get that kind of captive audience on your platform, you can sell a lot of things to those to that big audience.
Mm-hmm.
I never know. You may end up with courses in fundamental analysis, courses in technical analysis.
I'm trying to find where Bittrex. See, these are all the currencies, not currencies, but cryptos Bittrex Exchange have. So they have. It's a lot. 289. I'm trying to see where they stand among all. What pecking order they stand among the crypto exchanges. But yeah,
It's going to be a big fight for that volume.
because their daily volume is what's this, 66 million, and that's 10,000 B, or equivalent to 10,000, a little over 10,000 BTC. So it's just they know
Yeah,
small.
but you know, just like a lot of things, when we have in the broader markets, we're going to be under stress. So markets going to come down, and when markets start falling, let's say in the general, we're talking about the S&P and the Dow. I mean, after that first wave of selling, the volume goes down. The trading activity, and I'm talking about in the majors. I'm not talking about crypto right now. And so those majors are going to lose a lot of money. The major brokers in traditional stocks. I think now concurrent with this, I think we could see some consolidations, some mergers and stuff with some major brokers and stuff. It's gonna be interesting. Until on one level, when the majors start to fall and that trading volume goes down because people are spooked, and if people aren't trading, then commissions go down, and that's revenue for the brokers. But at some point in time, the crypto volume is going to rise. It's going to be some shuffling of the deck chairs. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
A question: you say some companies are going to merge. Some you said, what did you say?
Yeah. I believe that we could see some big brokers, maybe small and medium size, to start from that end, not be able to survive a reduction in volume, because that's a reduction. Reduction in trading volume is reduction in commission. Reduction in commission is a reduction in revenue.
Okay. And the only way they'll be able to supply or survive.
They usually small companies, small and medium sized companies, usually in situations like that, merge or get bought by a bigger company.
Okay.
And so that's on the bad news, when then crypto could come along and offer life to some companies when Bitcoin stops this decline. And I don't think Bitcoin is going to be declining long. I mean, I don't have no crystal ball, but I would be surprised if we haven't hit bottom by Labor Day. I'd be real surprised.
So with what we understand now, I'll put it like that, how the crypto markets move conversely with the dollar.
Kinda, sorta. It's not like 1-to-1.
Right. So I said what we understand, from our understanding thus far, and crypto starts to quote unquote skyrocket with the volume that the high volume that these crypto exchanges are going to have in the future. They could potentially purchase some of these smaller exchange or stock exchanges, not exchanges, but brokers.
It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Yes, this is going to be the new, in the world of, like, in the broker world, this is the new frontier. It's like, this is money. They're going to see that volume, or they're looking at this a volume that's going to come in cryptos, and I'm sure every broker is like, salivating. How can I get a share of that?
And doesn't broker have to, if you want to become a full service broker, they have to have certain SEC licenses and things of that sort, correct?
You know what? I do not know what those requirements are. I'm not even going to guess.
They're going to have they have to have some type of licenses.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, money too.
So
Series 6, Series
7, staffing. Absolutely, yes. Those licensed managers,
certifications,
brokers. Yes. So when you say full service, yes, you need all of those qualified people.
So if a crypto exchange is having a hard time getting these type of certifications with the government, and now the government is looking at a possibility of some of these crypto exchanges with these with an
I'm
uptick.
sorry, you lose me. Why would the crypto exchanges have difficulty?
Well, the U.S. is beating their feet with regulations in terms of crypto. They're not at the forefront of crypto regulations like some other countries. There, it's kind of in
Well,
limbo.
I think if uh if it's determined that that these firms have to be treated just like coming under the same regulation as stockbrokers, well, why what would stop the existing? Look, these folks want the money. Those existing licensed brokers, they will, I'm sure they'll come up with some additional certification, and those guys will get it. They'll get certified. That's these are smart guys and they're greedy.
Yeah,
They're
because
profit.
I was thinking along the lines of, okay, I'm a crypto exchange, and I'm seeing an uptick of my volume, and these brokers, full service brokerages, are seeing a downtick, and they want to survive. And the government has been uh, slow to give me certain licenses. Okay, I'm going to purchase one of these full service brokerages to some find a way to get the government attention or get around some type of regulation. Then I'll be certified this or certified that. I'm not saying it'll be that easy, but just to get the government's attention, and to say, well, okay, these crypto exchanges in the U.S. are starting to buy up some of these smaller brokerage firms. Okay, let's go ahead and give them.
And vice versa. And some brokerage firms might end up.
Mhm.
We don't. That's why I said we don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah,
But the money, the government, or at least from the United States standpoint, I don't think they're going to do. I mean, they on one level, yeah, they're going to want regulation, but on another level, they're not going to want to kill the goose.
oh no, 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 no. I don't believe they're going to kill the goose. I'm just saying the
So
goose
they're
is
not
going
going
to
to
be.
have so much regulation. I don't think that they would uh, hurt the goose because that revenue becomes taxes.
Yeah, and it means more money coming in. Yeah, like I
Right.
said, I don't think a before I say that, is more money, and since it's such a global trading platform, and say you have three of the top five exchange or three of the top 10 exchanges in your country, that's more money. And B, I don't I I, I don't they're stupid to kill the goose. I'm just saying that the goose is going to become clever.
Well, in order for cryptocurrency to be established and accepted within the SEC, it would have to be considered to be an alternative currency, and they're not ready to accept that yet. So the alternative to that would just be accepted as an index, like a ETF,
Right.
Mhm.
and then you can move it that way.
Or a
Yeah,
security.
I think the regulations is just gonna. These guys are not gonna be sitting around waiting for the regulation. The regulations is gonna have to chase the train, and then they'll
Right.
adapt.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's in saying, okay, I got this money. Let me shoot let me shoot one over the bow by threatening to purchase one of these smaller brokerage firms, and just to get the government's attention. That's what I'm saying. What did you
J-
want
Just
to
to correct,
go ahead?
just to correct you, Lionel, it's not it's not invest, but it's investing.com. That's the
Okay.
actual website that we use. So it's not the
Investing.com.
same. Yeah.
And Bitrix and investing.com. My apologies. My
No,
apologies.
I think the article just says invest.
Oh, okay.
It
Okay.
doesn't say
Go
investing.
to
So I think
invest.com.
it's
Let's
two
take a
different.
look at it.
Investing.com is pretty good. They have a lot of good information.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Oh, invest.com or investing.com?
Yeah,
Well, the
we're trying to
article.
figure that out right now.
Okay. So the article said invest.com. Okay. Invest.com. Yep. And Bittrex launching new digital trading platform. Our mission is to create a world leading global digital crypto based exchange platform which empowers new and experienced traders to actively manage their crypto finances. So it's invest.com.
Yeah, I think Bittrex is we covered it before, but I think it's run by that brother out in UK.
Okay, now wait, this is where I get confused. Bittrex and BitMEX with the M. These two different companies, right? I think the brother is from BitMEX, right?
One second. I just saw the email come in.
Yeah, go to BitMEX. Type that in.
It's BitMEX. You're right about that. It's BitMEX.
Okay, yeah, because this is like confusing.
Some exchanges do sound similar.
And
I think they do that on purpose.
And BitMEX is a UK company, right?
BitMEX does operate outside the United States, as far as I know.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think the SEC is somewhere in here. I think they're especially concerned with how they're going to get or stop U.S. citizens from getting on all of these exchanges that are outside of the purview of the SEC.
Yeah, because I think a couple of them require you to show your passport or some kind of ID.
Yeah, some do, some don't. Because I was looking at BitMEX with the M. They allow you to essentially short Bitcoin.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's they're gonna have a hard time like you said, controlling U.S. citizens from investing in cryptocurrency, because not only do you have these bigger exchanges, say they force the KYC, know your customer rules. Some of these smaller exchanges are going to start to see an uptick in volume because they may not enforce KYC. Then you have the decentralized exchanges, which is decentralized. There's no central office to say, "Hey, do this." So they're going to have a hard time.
That actually allows for capital flight, which is some of the major controls that the U.S. government has in place.
Yeah, that's why a lot of companies are. A lot of countries are against allowing Bitcoin to run free.
Right.
What's up?
Which is why they're having a hard time regulating it. What's going on, Noah?
What's up, guys?
Yo.
Hopefully, I didn't join too late.
No, you're at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
What's good, Ulysses? Oh, nothing much, man. Just trying to stay cool. 115 today.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hell is here.
What was that?
Hell is here.
Oh man, dude, it feels like it's today.
You have your own personal sun.
Hot as hell, dude. But I'm sorry.
Did you guys have anything you wanted to add to the article?
No, just listening in.
Well, actually, I have one question. So I know there was, I think was it Malta that was making moves? Malta and Dubai, I think. Who else? Maybe like Puerto Rico. I'm not sure, but they're trying to be kind of like the cryptocurrency hubs with a lot of these exchanges there. How exactly do you think that? Do you guys think is going to work out?
Well,
are they trying to kind of?
I think. Go ahead.
Are they trying to be kind of like Switzerland or kind of like the Cayman Islands of cryptocurrency?
Well, no, those will be offshore vessels. But I think what they're trying to do, and I think I mentioned this last week, is that I think they're trying to be the Wall Street in the what do they call that in London? The London
FTSE.
Then so down or something like that. I think they're trying to be their own digital Wall Street.
Ah, okay, I see. So kind of where cryptocurrency companies set up shop.
Right, and you have to look at their background as well. So if you look at Dubai, Dubai is a mercantile state.
Right.
And Puerto Rico could actually be that way too if if they can get enough power generated. I mean, part of Puerto Rico's problem is natural utility services. So
right,
water, electricity.
Mike,
and if Elon Musk,
But I think Malta
ahead.
would be the best, situated. It's outside of the EU technically, or actually, is Malta? No, Malta's part of the EU, right? And then it's in the Mediterranean, so it's in between, the Middle East countries and North Africa. So it might be the best situated, I think. I don't know.
Well, they have a lot of money from a human capital standpoint, right? So per capita, they have a lot of money that they can actually reinvest into that.
Right. That's
so they can afford to diversify their portfolio as a nation state.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's it's a really slick move because there's a lot of money parked there. Right. So if you could have it also a burgeoning crypto hub as well, then a lot of your wealthier clientele and citizenry will more than likely engage in activity in those markets as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think they want to get ahead of the curve, right? So instead of waiting, instead of following the leader, they want to be the leader that everyone follows.
Yeah, you might as well.
In that section world.
Yeah, you're right. If you got, I mean, like I said, you got tons of money parked there, yachts and all kind of stuff, right? Like you might as well have the people who have a lot of their money parked there, like parked in a crypto sector too. It wouldn't make much sense for them to, because you can actually view that as possible capital flight in a lot of ways. Let's just say if some other area becomes attractive for them to kind of shift some of their money over there. I mean, I wouldn't want that. I want to have the crypto hub here. I'm saying, yeah, we got that going on too. And you get that business also. So yeah, I could see that being advantageous for Malta.
And it's easy to cultivate your people to get used to a new paradigm shift, such as digital currencies and cryptocurrencies.
Roll it right in. You just roll it right into what you got going on pre-existing.
Well, not necessarily, because if you can't use it outside of your nation state, then it becomes kind of useless, right? Because the rest of the EU hasn't really caught on yet.
Also, it's very volatile right now. But I imagine if the cryptocurrency market starts stabilizing, then that's when the money laundering will begin, I think.
Right, and if you can't hold gold, then cryptos will probably be the next alternative.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say before, Ulysses? I cut you off.
No, I mean, I think I might have touched on it during what we were just talking about. We're good.
Okay.
Got a question, I guess for everyone. It seems that when we reach this point in time when this is a technical analysis observation setting up a fundamental analysis question. when the dollar gets to that point and it starts what I'm calling the death spiral, if the past correlations hold up, that would mean the euro would be rising. How much interest do you think they would have if the euro is rising? How much are they going to be as interested in cryptocurrencies with the euro rising?
I don't know if, to answer your question, I'll be the first one to jump in. I don't know if the euro is going to be around in the next 10 to 15 years.
Ooh, a lot can happen between now and 10 to 15 years. We can get rich several times over in that amount of time.
Well, what I'm saying is, if there are so many weak links within the EU itself that makes up the euro, that if one or two states fall, such as Greece and
Spain
and Portugal, Greece and Portugal, then what's going to happen is it's going to cause a domino effect, and it may not happen all at once. But that's why I said 10 to 15 years. You may not see it anymore, and people may stop pulling out. And if you have your major player like the United Kingdom pulling out almost completely by 2019, and then you have another major player like France that says, "Oh well, we're not going to get involved in this either. We really don't want to be here." that can cause the whole entire EU to spiral out of control, and it can cause inflation on the euro, because a lot of these countries I think more than half of the countries within the EU are actually in debt. They can't pay off their debts, and they're being picked apart.
Right. In regards to inflation, if inflation starts happening, Germans are very, very, inflation phobic because of their history. They're gonna pull out.
Wow. Well, that's.
I don't think Germany. I don't think Germany will pull out. I think Germany will be left holding the bag, because they hold 2/3 of the wealth inside the EU.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I think, isn't that like Merkel's? That's kind of been her fear.
That's kind of what happened with them in Greece. That's why they were extremely angry at the Greeks, because they had to bail them out. But I meant if shit hits the fan, Germany doesn't want to get stuck with all this bad debt and the euro in hyperinflation. That's their ultimate.
Right, and the money that they were giving to Greece to pay off their debts, it will go into Greece's hand for maybe a few minutes, and then it goes to pay off the debtors.
Wow. Especially, it's pretty dire, especially viewed in light of the I guess the projection that this downturn is going to be worse than the one we experienced in 2007 to 2009. This is going to be worse than that.
And it could lead to the breakup of the EU.
And so, in that scenario, what do you think they would adopt a cryptocurrency?
Well, what they've been talking about is going back to their own personal currency. So the Greeks have been talking about going back to the drachma.
Okay.
And that really doesn't have any value as it stands right now, but it's better than being colonized economically by the euro, because they can't really compete with on a labor scale and on a services scale, because they're all tied into one currency.
But I think the Greeks, they did have a chance to pull out is when they were in crisis. They're kind of in crisis now, but not as bad as they were before. So I don't know if they can pull out at this point.
Yeah, it seemed as though it was like back then, and I know that time you were talking, that you're referring to, there was that period where it was like we either double down, with the EU and and have them bail us out, or we just bite the bullet, right? And we go ahead with the currency reset. We go back to our own stuff, and we roll with it. And in a few years, time, we can see our way out of it. We will just have to bite the bullet. I don't know. It seems as though they had to bite the bullet one way or the other, right? And I'm not too sure if the bailout bullet was the best bullet to bite.
They didn't have any choice. They only had 90 days to pay off their debt, and they needed it as of right now, right? So they got the money, but the money never went into their hands.
But like you said, the money came in to go to debtors, basically.
Yeah, and as it stands right now, they're starting to look to the Russians and the Chinese to actually bail them out, or to get out of the euro. China bought off a lot of their military assets.
It's not a port too.
Okay, Mike, restate that answer for me again, just to make sure I'm getting it. So, what might this mean for cryptos?
You may see more weaker European states start leaning onto digital currencies. So they may form their own little economic pacts to kind of, wean off of the euro itself, because the euro is what's keeping them down.
Well, I was going to say, isn't it like you got like small nations like Estonia, right? Trying to get big in that sector, places like that. Go ahead,
well,
Mike.
They have to, right? They have to, because their major resources, their human resource. So they've converted themselves to being an IT powerhouse like India has. That was the shift from 2009 to 2014.
Yeah, and then you even have companies like Rimac, or they're creating like electric vehicles and stuff. So like you said, like kind of tech and brain intellect heavy type resource or resources are starting to kind of come out of those small regions, right, where there really wasn't much of an export, if you could say, or much of a, you know, an economic center in places like Estonia and Croatia and stuff like that. But now you're starting to see like some interesting stuff coming out of those regions.
Yeah, but it's hard
why
to
though?
grow.
If you really think,
I was going to say it's hard to have a business in a weak banking environment.
Well, if you really think about it, a lot of the cultivation is coming out of NATO, because all those are NATO states that you just mentioned.
Right. Yeah. Because Porsche. Yeah, I think we said thing about Porsche just bought like a 10% stake in Rimac. I mean, like, dude, like, what's going on over in Eastern Europe right now, man?
Eastern Europe has always been the weaker player of the region. So it's Western Europe that has always been strong. So that's why Germany is so strong.
Right.
And there's try to get into the EU by the back door, like these Balkan states, Greece, because they are, cash heavy. So they're willing to, front the costs. And the Balkans and Greece and, Italy, they're more than happy to take their money.
Well, they don't have any choice, right? Because they're pretty broke themselves. They can't pay off their pensioners, which is part of the problem. In Greece, as broke as they are, they're the only ones in NATO that actually spends their full budget that Trump requests of 2 to 2.5% of their budget on NATO spending, and they can't even afford it themselves. And the only reason they're spending their money on it is because Turkey is occupying a couple of their islands, and they have beef with Turkey, which is another NATO member.
Right. For sure.
All right.
Well,
let's get to this next one. I think it'll segue right into it. This is from ccn.com. This is from June 30th. SEC mulls unconventional Bitcoin ETF application. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, has formally issued a call for public comment on yet another proposal to list Bitcoin ETF on a regulated exchange. VanEck SolidX partnered to create physically backed Bitcoin ETF. This development came in response to a proposal submitted by Chicago-based derivatives exchange CBOE to list and trade shares of SolidX Bitcoin shares, which itself has been issued by the VanEck SolidX Bitcoin Trust. CBOE was the first U.S. exchange to list Bitcoin futures products, and executives have indicated that they intend for the platform to continue to lead in the nascent cryptocurrency derivatives industry. According to the filing documents, the trust will invest directly in physical Bitcoin. I don't understand that one. Not Bitcoin futures, and each share will represent a fractional, undivided, beneficial interest in the trust's net assets. From the filing, the trust intends to achieve this objective by investing substantially all of its assets in Bitcoin traded primarily in the over-the-counter markets, though the trust may also invest in Bitcoin traded on domestic and international Bitcoin exchanges, depending on liquidity and otherwise at the trust's discretion. The trust is not actively managed. It does not engage in any activities designed to obtain a profit from or to ameliorate losses caused by changes in the price of Bitcoin. Thus, SolidX Bitcoin shares will be a very similar product to the Bitcoin Investment Trust, a creation of Grayscale Investments and the most popular Bitcoin investment product wrapped in a traditional financial and trust instrument. GBTC is currently traded over the counter, which makes it far less liquid than if it was listed on an SEC regulated exchange. As CCN reported, the SEC has raised significant concerns about giving a Bitcoin ETF its stamp of approval, largely due to the fact that this will make this volatile, high risk investment product much more accessible to retail investors. However, this fund, VanEck's third attempt to create and list a Bitcoin ETF, has attempted to evade those concerns by making shares too expensive for most retail investors to purchase. As of the date of this registration statement, Each share represented approximately 25 bitcoins, worth roughly $150,000 at the time of writing. That's not the only difference between this fund and other proposed Bitcoin ETFs. Given regulatory concerns about the integrity of cryptocurrency spot markets, most Bitcoin ETF proposals stated that the funds would instead trade Bitcoin futures, which are regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC. SolidX Bitcoin shares, in contrast, will hold Bitcoin directly or at least through a custodian. Individuals can send the SEC comments on the proposal through the agency's internet comment form or by emailing rule. Okay, okay, so uh, they steady trying to push this Bitcoin ETF. I really do not. I'll admit I don't know what they mean by, according to the filing documents, the trust will invest in directly in physical Bitcoin. I think they are trying to say that they will purchase Bitcoin from exchanges. I think that's what they mean by physical.
I think they mean in to differentiate it from the, if I heard you read it correctly, from the futures.
Okay.
The Bitcoin futures. That's a futures contract. It's basically, if I can oversimplification, a bet on the future price of Bitcoin, up or down. Okay, and that's good and bad, because you would get price volatility. Like, we love volatility when it makes the price go up, but it can also make the price go down real fast too. It would move like those triple leveraged ETFs. You know, hello?
Yeah, you still. I hear you clearly.
Yeah, so it would make it move like those explosive ETFs, and I think they are concerned about a lot of retirees trading Bitcoins. You know, something with futures in it.
Yeah,
because
because
it could wipe people out.
there have been articles that compared the Bitcoin futures contracts to gold futures contracts, and I have not read it yet, but someone went over it and it was saying the person overlapped the two charts, and the two charts of the futures, Bitcoin futures and the gold futures, look eerily similar, and they're trying to point out that it's price manipulation. It's heavy price manipulation in these future contracts, and there's been many people pointing out that the Bitcoin futures contract is what destroyed Bitcoin's momentum late December of last year.
I will say I don't buy the price manipulation argument. These instruments they're just highly volatile in and of themselves. It's like the same people that will say price manipulation. Why do they only say that when the price goes down?
I cannot answer.
We don't hear these criticisms when the price is going up. You know, but that's the nature. That's the nature of those futures contracts. They're highly volatile. That's in both directions. They go up fast. They go down fast. And you know, people think that there are people out here that have this opinion that the markets are just supposed to go up, and when they go down, there's something wrong, or somebody's rigging something.
So let me ask you this: with the Bitcoin futures, if more people bet the Bitcoin price will be less than what it is now in the future, that you don't think there's no one out there manipulating the price of Bitcoin to meet those?
It would take a big effort. It's a lot of money. It's a lot. Well, I guess at this point, I have to look and see on the exchange. The greater the volume, the more difficult it is to manipulate. Put it that way.
Okay, so
it would take a whole lot of money.
So technically speaking, I'm not saying out of your mind, but technically speaking, if it's a smaller volume, then there's
It can be
There
manipulated much
can be
easier
manipulated. Okay, but
by
it'll take
fewer people and less money. Right. The
so
more volume, it takes more money, and you probably need a lot of people.
okay.
For the
So
smaller altcoins, there's all kinds of pumping and dumping that happens all the time.
yeah,
But they couldn't do that to Bitcoin. It's not possible. It's way too big.
Yeah. It's
okay,
like penny stocks. You know, that kind of thing with penny stocks is common.
okay. So okay, like
With all that said, I'm all in favor of cryptocurrency ETFs. I would really like to see a standalone, ETFs for the bigger ones like Bitcoin, trading on major exchanges, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the ones with like big volumes, and then the crappy coins. What would be great is if they came out with market cap based cryptocurrencies. So you can have like all of your quote unquote shit coins would be like in your small cap crypto, a mid cap crypto, a large cap crypto, and you can figure it out how you want to weight it. If you're investing in a basket full of shit coins, you know what it is you're doing, and you can make up your mind how much you want to, or how much or how little you want to throw at it.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, but I would rather they did it that way as opposed to taking like a mixed bag of, just I don't want. Yeah, I like the index style of investing. Really the pure play is even better. But if they're gonna have a basket of cryptocurrencies, where are they drawing the line, and who's picking?
Yeah.
The constituents in that basket.
Me personally, knowing crypto, if they do a basket of cryptocurrencies, and I see certain cryptocurrencies that are in there that the crypto community consider as a quote unquote shit coin, I'm not investing in it because the volatility of that one or two or few shit coins can manipulate the index's price.
Right.
So yeah. And when you say pure play, what do you mean by pure play?
Or like just Bitcoin for
Yeah.
one ETF,
Yeah.
and
Well,
just Ethereum for another.
Oh yeah.
That way you know what it is.
Yeah, just by name, just the amount of time I've been in the crypto, I would do the pure plays. If the basket, the the currencies they choose to be in the basket is good, if they're good, solid top tier cryptos, then I would invest in it. But if they are some, as compared to the housing market, some below prime cryptos in there, nah, I'm doing pure.
Right.
Any other points?
That's all I got.
All right, so let's head on to our next topic. This one comes from FT.com. Switzerland looks to liberalize cryptocurrency banking access. This is by Ralph Atkins from July 2nd. Traditional banks have refused to operate accounts for the country's crypto valley startups. Switzerland's fast growing cryptocurrency industry could have full access to conventional banking services by the end of the year, removing one of the restrictions to future growth, a top Swiss policymaker has said. Traditional banks have so far largely refused to operate accounts for the country's crypto valley startups, citing tough anti money laundering and other rules on managing clients. The new companies, largely clustered around Zug, a small lakeside town near Zurich, have instead turned to banks in Liechtenstein, Liechtenstein and elsewhere for banking services. Heinz Tonnler, finance director of Zug Canton, said he expected Swiss politicians and regulators to remove obstacles in coming months, allowing crypto companies to operate with banks in the same way as other companies. We hope to clarify relationships by the end of this year at the latest, he told Financial Times. Time is pressing. Other jurisdictions such as Malta and Singapore are very active in making a lot of effort to attract these companies. The lack of access to bank services is a significant competitive disadvantage. Switzerland's central bank, financial supervisor, and federal government are willing to help, Mr. Tandler said. We have to push certain national institutions to resolve this problem quickly and effectively, but that now seems to be going well. Despite skepticism amongst regulators globally about cryptocurrencies, Switzerland has sought to steal a lead in the emerging financial products. Earlier this year, Johann Schneider Ammann, economics minister, said Switzerland wants to become the crypto nation. The affluent Alpine country last year ranked second after the US in funds generated from initial coin offerings when startups sell tokens or coins to investors. Zug is home to about 200 blockchain based companies. However, the lack of access to normal banking services has become a worry. You can do a lot with crypto, but you can't pay rents and salaries, said Alain Kunz, chief executive of CoinLab Capital, a Swiss startup offering blockchain asset management services. On one hand, the government declares Switzerland a crypto nation and wants to become a business hub for blockchain technology. On the other hand, the banks make life difficult for the blockchain and crypto startups to obtain banking relationships, essentially killing the emerging businesses. Crypto Valley companies have started to take their own measures to resolve the problem by moving into financial services themselves. Mr. Kuntz said CoinLab Capital has agreed a partnership with TokenPay, a blockchain based payment platform registered in the British Virgin Islands, which has banking operations. Under the deal, CoinLab Capital will become TokenPay's asset management arm. Mr. Tanlier described Zug as an exceptionally economically liberal canton. Of course, rules on money laundering and other rules must be adhered to by blockchain companies. I can understand that banks are careful with respect to know your client and anti money laundering, but experts reckon the danger of money laundering is lower than in others. Read that again. But experts reckon the danger of money laundering is lower than in other sectors of the financial industry. Companies active in the blockchain area should receive banking services just like any other company. They the way they will be stopped from choosing other domiciles in countries where access is easier, such as Liechtenstein. Now, I read that earlier, and based on just going back to our last point of how the Bittrex and Invest.com point, I was saying if some of these U.S. based exchanges get see their uptick in volume, they may start to purchase smaller brokerage firms because they my what I was trying to say is because they are a loophole to get around the U.S. government beating their feet. If if the U.S. government beat their feet in terms of crypto regulation, making it more accessible for these U.S. based exchanges, crypto exchanges, they may go somewhere else, and I'm sure these U.S. regulators don't want to lose that golden goose. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, the SEC controls where we go, as citizens. Okay, we are prohibited from legally participating in certain foreign investments or foreign exchanges in like certain, especially if once you get into like leveraged or margin accounts and stuff. So I hear you. But I don't think that they're going to be running from U.S. regulations. I think the government is looking, watching, and just trying to figure out how much how much can they get involved in it without hindering it?
Mhm.
The government wants the money too, but they also want to protect the people. But the government has, again, I believe, I just my speculation, the government is concerned about how many people, how many retirement accounts might get destroyed.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you. Once people see once this becomes mainstream like it did toward the end of last year, Q4 last year, and people start to uh, get
I don't
what
think it ever got mainstream. This volume that's coming, this is going to be mainstream. If it
now
becomes an ETF, then it's going to be mainstream.
now let me lay this on you. You say it wasn't mainstream Q4 last year. Okay, people, I've heard stories of people getting home mortgage loans, and putting it in crypto. So I'm just piggybacking off what you said when you say they don't want to see people's retirement get wiped out because people just going to throw money at it. People were putting massive amounts of personal debt into crypto, and it wasn't even mainstream when it reached those when Bitcoin and these other altcoins reached their all-time highs at the end of last year. People were just
Yeah, look,
shoveling money.
I've been trading for 30 years. I don't own any crypto.
Hmm.
A lot of my friends don't own any crypto. So the I'm talking, even if you just look at a lot of traders, experienced traders, they don't we don't own any. So, but we are getting in it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I you haven't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
This
I was just
volume is
saying.
coming, and these prices and these cryptocurrencies are gonna go. They're gonna go berserk.
I was saying what I was saying to back your what you were saying, that the government's trying to protect people because when I was like I said, Q4 last year, people were going ham. So I was just saying that to
Oh yeah,
back
yeah, I
what
hear
you're
you. I
saying.
mean, yeah, we're on the same page. I'm saying it's gonna be worse than you can imagine. And so,
So
what happens if people get financially wiped out? We end up leaning on the government for support.
mm,
So the you know,
we're
government
gonna hear
has a
we're gonna hear a lot of stories. Yeah,
yeah,
when a lot of bad stories, a
right.
lot of bad stories. Any other points on that article?
Nope.
Point one. Okay, okay, all right. So let me share my screen once again. All right, this one is from BBC News, July 6th. Donald Trump raises stakes as U.S. China trade war begins. Donald Trump has threatened to impose tariffs worth hundreds of billions of dollars on Chinese imports to the U.S. as the trade war between the world's two largest economies began on Friday. All right. U.S. tariffs on 34 billion of Chinese goods have come into effect. China retaliated by imposing a similar 25% tariff on 545 U.S. products, also worth a total of 34 billion. Tit for tat. Mr. Trump said the U.S. might target Chinese goods worth 500 billion, the total value of Chinese imports in 2017. Beijing accused the U.S. of starting the largest trade war in economic history and has lodged a case with the World Trade Organization. Trade war is never a solution, said Chinese Prime Minister Li Qingjing. China would never start a trade war, but if any party resorts to an increase of tariffs, then China will take measures in response to protect development interests. The government-run English-language China daily newspaper said the Trump administration is behaving like a gang of hoodlums with its shakedown of other countries, particularly China. Conflict within the administration. Um, Behind the trade war, there's conflict within the administration. Hardliners such as Peter Navarro, a trade policy advisor, says the U.S. is defending itself against and aggressive China. Meanwhile, some of the officials who had previously worked for the Obama administration, known as holdovers, are hoping to tamp down the US China conflict. The tension between these factions is occasionally on display in the West Wing. I've seen two hardliners struggle over a podium. Wow. Vying for a chance to broadcast Mr. Trump's harsh message on economic issues while the holdovers sit quietly at the side of the room. This reflects a larger division in the White House. Mr. Trump and his closet aides are trying to bring, excuse me, closest aides are trying to bring about radical change, while those who support a more cautious approach find themselves sitting on silence. Analysts at Bank of America Merrill Lynch forecast only a modest escalation in the U.S. China battle, adding, however, we can't rule out a full blown recession inducing trade war. I mentioned that a while ago. Rob Carnell, chief Asia economist at ING, said, this is not economic Armageddon. We will not have to hunt our food with pointy sticks. How did he? That's extreme. But if but it is applying the brakes to a global economic economy that has less durable momentum than appears to be the case. China's decision to impose its own tariffs means U.S. goods, including cars, soybeans, and lobsters, are now subject to additional taxes. The BMW said it could not absorb all of the 25% tariffs on the cars it exports to China from a plant in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and will have to raise prices. The U.S. tariffs are the result of Mr. Trump's attempt to protect U.S. jobs and stop unfair transfers of American technology and intellectual property to China. The White House said it would consult on tariffs on another 16 billion of products, which Mr. Trump has suggested could come into effect later this month. Mr. Trump said, you have another $16 billion in 2 weeks. And then, as you know, we have 200 billion in abeyance. And then after that 200 billion, we have 300 billion in abeyance. Okay, so you have 50 plus 200 plus 300. He said that. Okay. The imposition of the tariffs had little impact on Asian stock markets. The Shanghai Composite closed 0.5% higher, but ended the week 3.5% lower, its seventh consecutive week of losses. Um, Tokyo closed 1.1% higher, and European markets were up more than 1% in morning trading before turning negative on Friday afternoon. Mr. Trump has already imposed tariffs on imported washing machines and solar panels and started charging levies on the imports of steel and aluminum from the European Union, Mexico, and Canada. The U.S. tariffs imposed so far would affect the equivalent of 0.6% of global trade and account for 0.1% of global GDP, according to Morgan Stanley. Analysts are also concerned about the impact on others in the supply chain and about an escalation of tension between the US and China in general. All right, so who wants first crack at that?
Well, I'll tell you this. We'll be seeing some of that personally. A lot of the bikes that I carry are manufactured in China, so the price is going to go up on them. So that's been the talk amongst the importation industry as far as like the Chinese vehicles go. So it's very real, folks.
Yeah, it seems like a bad, really, really bad political move on Trump's part. The timing of it, again, I'm gonna take it back to the charts. When this market really rolls over, Trump has set himself up to be blamed for it. They're gonna say that the story is going to be that these tariffs caused the market to tumble.
I can see that.
And that's just a bad chess move.
he's already getting the blame for the bit as far as the business moves. Like people like Harley Davidson, there's a few other firms that have had to either scale back, scale back their plans for expansion, like because a lot of it was predicated upon getting new business in like the European markets, right? So now all of a sudden you make a bourbon and now it's going to be 25% more, right, to sell it. Well, how are you going to try to break into a market with a bourbon that's 20, with the cost that's at a higher price point getting into the market versus what they already have pre-establishing, right?
And how are you going to pay that 25% more with interest rates rising?
Exactly. So there's a lot of angles where he's already starting to feel the knock on that, right? You got a lot of these Trump supporters, man. Hey, and if you, I think we might have talked about this before. You notice a lot of these tariffs that the Chinese levied, okay, and that the Europeans, okay, they hit specifically the areas where there are Trump supporters, right? Those areas where a lot of there's like rural manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. It hits directly in those areas. That's why those supporters are, a lot of them are eating crow, and a lot of them are starting to vocalize their displeasure.
Now, of course, to be clear, of course, you got Mutual Feed. No. Yes, just to be clear, of course, I don't think that he's responsible for the market rolling over, but people are going. It's just too easy to write the story that way, and it's an easy sell. Go for it, Noah.
Right. So, and to speak on my state of Minnesota, we've had like a lot of flooding recently in the areas that produce soybeans, and you add that to the fact that since April, when this first started, the prices of soybeans have gone down like, I think they said around $2 a bushel, right? So, and after this, the tariff that's going to be placed on a lot of soybean farmers, specifically here in Minnesota and the Midwest in general, they're in a lot of trouble. And the crazy thing is the people who voted for Trump in those areas, they still support him, but they know it's going to hurt them. Hurt their bottom line personally. So it's been really confusing.
Well, no, is there a term? Is there a term for that? Isn't there a term for people who do that? Who like people who vote against their interests, or like they there's an actual term for that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I have no idea.
Dishwasher.
Speaking of dishwasher, the gentleman that's famous for dishwasher, comment. I've been thinking about this guy because I've noticed the price of potato chips have gone up. I'm serious. So I wanted to see behind it, and he's the guy that speaks of potatoes too.
Wait, who? Wait, chips?
Huh?
You said the price of.
No, potato chips have gone up. In like 2 different grocery stores, man. I've noticed it. Like, so if you're any potato chip fans out there, when you go to Walmart to get your potato chips, you're gonna go, whoa, what the heck happened? If you go to Food Line, you're gonna go, what in the heck happened to the price of potato chips?
Yeah, Doritos went up from $1.59 up to like $1.79, I think.
Okay. See, Walmart potato chips was like 80 cents. It's like $1.12. I'm like, what the heck? It went up in like a week.
Wait, now look, would you guys think that they might actually be like offsetting maybe like the rise in prices in certain things by incrementally raising prices on other things to like offset?
I'm going to be looking into it. At this point, I have to say I don't know, but it really jumped on my radar, and now that Mike is telling me with Doritos, now I'm going to look at the chip stocks, and maybe, so you guys know I'm not a fundamental trader, but I'm curious about this. I'm going to listen up for earnings call. Somebody's got an explanation for what's going on with the chips.
I'm gonna have to like shoot out to the store here in a few minutes. I'll be back though. But when I go to the store, I'm literally gonna do that, dude. I'm gonna go check out the chips and I'm gonna eyeball it and see if I notice a difference.
Yeah, do that.
This is funny.
So, but you gotta, you got a point. So this money had to be made up some kind of way. If we had these tariffs going around, I mean, it's
maybe.
Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say maybe they're predicting that this is what the increase is gonna be, so we might as well get ahead of the curve before it even hits the fan, because a lot of these tariffs had not gone into place until I think yesterday or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they show it, they have a map of all the shipping cargo ships, mapping out across the oceans, trying to speed up the process of getting their ships from point A to point B before the sanctions, not sanctions, but the tariffs.
That's interesting that you brought that up, because I just got kind of an email because I follow Seaboard, SEB, the big shipping company. And they were talking about how them and who else? Who's the people who make the chicken? They're really famous for that. What's their name? Tyson and a few other ones. They're being held up at Chinese ports.
I heard about that.
And they're doing it on purpose to, kind of an FU to the U.S.
Wow. Well, I don't go to KFC. Somebody got to mute their YouTube feed, but yeah, I don't go to KFC, but if they're holding up chickens,
hey,
anybody out there going to KFC, if you notice a price change, write it in the comments section of the video.
Hey, I don't think they're doing. No, they're also doing the same thing with oil. I heard about this recently too. They just got tankers just parked out in the port holding oil.
They did that in 2008. That's what happened. That there was a like, what do you call it, where they shoot the video by frame or whatever, 24-hour video. There was a channel back in 2000 time lapse video feed on a web page back in 2008, and where you could see these ships like huddling up. They couldn't. There was no rush to take the oil, and I see that happen. We're gonna see that again.
Well, I think the difference between oil and chicken is that chicken is gonna go bad at some point if you don't take it off that ship. With oil, you can let it dock for quite some time, because it starts to go through a refinery process.
Right. Strange times. Because I remember when, not to take it too far off base, way back in the day, the price of feed got too high, and they didn't even bring the, I think it was hogs. They wasn't even bringing them to market. They would kill it. They would kill it because it was too. It cost more to feed it than you could sell the pork for. So yeah, they were just killing the animals. Sick. But these are the strange things that happen when you get oversupply or price gets too high. Some strange stuff happens. Surplus. And this is what these tariffs are. Yeah. It's like, don't dump your excess on me. This is the other end of the market, the greed. And it comes from when something is rising in value, people hoard it. The producers of it, they overproduce because it's money. It's money. They see it as money. So because for years, they had no trouble selling it. But you reach a point where it runs out. The party is over. You get stuck holding it, and so the big guys don't always win. They have to pay on the other side for their greed. And this is it. So this is what's going on. But it's just a bad move for Trump to get into this, because every country is just going to get stuck with some surplus. of everything. So,
It's actually pushing China and the European Union even closer together because they're working behind the scenes to make bilateral trade negotiations to get around these whole tariffs.
right. So yeah. So that would,
Mike, they you know, to get leverage on future technologies, they're going to have to partner with their ability to crank out batteries and the A stuff that they have. You know, I think BMW just with what's that firm in China? So basically, what the deal is going to do is they're going to build battery. So the firm, I think it's like a $2 billion deal, and so this Chinese firm is actually going to put plants in Germany. So they'll be Chinese-owned businesses, but they'll be in Germany. I never thought I'd see the day.
Oh well, that's just business expansion for China. I mean, they're state-owned anyway.
They do that all the time. There's actually, I saw this kind of like video. I don't know if it was a documentary exactly, but what they were doing is they were setting up a shop in Italy, and then one of the business owners would become an Italian citizen, and what he did is he would import Chinese-made handbags and those kind of things, and then he'd do some minor work to it. I don't know, maybe like packaging or something like that, and that would grant him enough for it to be labeled made in Italy. So he was passing off Chinese-made handbags as Italian-made handbags.
They do that everywhere.
No, Italy's a little different. If they think it's a knockoff, like you can't really sell it there. Same thing with Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati. All those companies do not allow knockoff products of their original products inside Italy.
No, I'm talking about like
no, they weren't knockoffs. They were just handbags that were quote unquote made in Italy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. All right, good.
I know.
All right. Let's get to our next. Oh, I forgot to open up the thing. Our next topic. Let's look this up right quick. This one comes from Western CCN from July 5th. Western Union patent eyes cryptocurrency for secure transfer system. We just went over Western Union a couple of weeks ago. A newly published Western Union patent envisions a system that manages recurring transfer notifications and secure payments for a cryptocurrency network. According to filing documents published with the U.S. Patent and Trade Office on Thursday, the Inglewood, Colorado-based firm, the largest money transfer service in the world, has sought to devise a method to increase the security of electronic payments. The firm first applied for the patent in December 2016. Among other things, Western Union's proposed system uses biometric verification, such to ensure that senders authorize all transactions. Kind of sound like blockchain. This verification may come in the form of a fingerprint scan, a user's voice sample, or a retinal scan. The patent application indicates that the system has been designed as a general purpose tool to accommodate most types of electronic network. However, the document specifically notes that in certain embodiments, the electronic transfer network may be a cryptocurrency network such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Bitcoin. Uh, okay. Thus, in the various embodiments, electronic transfer network may be configured to support and perform transfers of various currency types, including traditional and or digital currencies, centralized and or decentralized currencies, cryptocurrencies, and any other medium of exchange, i.e., credit, gift cards, or certificates, points in a user point system, etc., between client devices and or external systems in different areas, regions, or jurisdictions. Notably absent from the application is any mention of XRP, a cryptocurrency that backers say is tailor made for money transfer businesses like Western Union and other financial institutions. That's not to say that Western Union has not given XRP a closer look. As CCN reported, the firm confirmed earlier this year that it has entered a partnership with San Francisco based blockchain startup Ripple to conduct a trial integrating XRP into its payment flows. More recently, though CEO Hikmet Erset said that he has not been impressed by the trial's early results. We are always criticized that Western Union is not, cost efficient, blah, blah, blah. But we did not see that part of the efficiency yet during our test. Erset said in June. The practical matter is it's still too expensive, he added, without going into detail. Okay, I smell a lot of fishiness with this with this whole event. That article with the biometrics, the fingerprint scan, the eye retinal scan, that just sounds like some type of knockoff of blockchain. And when they said that they're gonna trade all this other stuff, they said everything is except XRP, which means they're trying to anti your was
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out. I was just gonna say, I think the biometric and the finger scanning is to prevent, fraud, and then to comply with maybe not the Patriot Act, but kind of the U.S. There's another one about terrorism funding. They've been a lot more stricter about it for.
Okay. Okay. And the what was the other one? The I think they're trying to go against XRP. They're trying to compete against them. That's just what it sounds like to me.
I got a question for Mike. When we were talking about this several weeks ago, Western Union, wasn't Western Union reluctant to get involved at all?
Yeah, so they were reluctant about cryptocurrencies altogether.
Right.
What it sounds like to me is that maybe they have their own idea of their own currency internally, and going and whatever trial they had with XRP, they weren't highly impressed by it. But maybe they're looking at the blockchain as just a mechanism as to pass a currency. But how do they get around the regulations is probably the next question, right? So they're probably looking at this from a high level as to how do we take advantage of this without actually getting taken advantage of.
Yeah, but I think we were on the money when we discussed it a couple of weeks ago when we were saying that for Western Union to not be involved in cryptocurrency transactions at all, that wasn't a good look for the company, wasn't the most secure position to take for the president. And so there's apparently some softening of that position. So
well, people listen to this hangout, so
oh yeah, right.
Don't think that because there's only 5 or 6 people watching it, don't think that somebody from there wasn't watching this.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, I think because I've heard a story which said the CEO of XRP was saying, yeah, it wasn't cost effective because they only perform the below the bare minimum test to see if it was cost efficient, when it only takes a few cents just to send money across borders. But compare that to Western Union, depending on where you send it to and when you send it, it can be $10, $20, $30 and how much you send it. So to me, I think that they conducted their trial just to say, yeah, we conducted and we got these results, but we got our own thing when they were trying to do their own thing and all the while because it said the patent was filed December 2016. So they've been trying to push their own thing. So they just did the XRP, just say they did it.
Well, they also have a proof of concept, right? So it sounds to me like they're trying all measures before they go all in on their own. And for a company like Western Union, they probably want their stuff to be pretty proprietary, not to be shared with anybody else.
Right.
Okay.
It would have to be because of the nature of their business. You know, if they if anybody else can replicate whatever Western Union does, then they're out of business themselves. So
Yeah, because if they back to the I guess the big point from my point of view is they got to get in the game. They or at least posture like they're trying to get in the game. You know, so
if
there could be no Western Union, we could look up, you know, several couple of years from now, and there's no more Western Union.
Well, that's what PayPal comes in.
Right.
If what they're doing, if their own proprietary system is still costs some significant money compared to what's already out there, they're not going to survive.
What do you mean?
If the proprietary system they're working on, if let's say to send money from America to India, because I think India is the biggest customer. Say it costs $25 to send money there, and with they coming out, they're rolling out their own proprietary software, but still costs $10 to send it. And you have all of these other companies, such as you said, PayPal, then XRP starting to roll out, and any other uh, service that you send money that costs less than $10, even if you're sending a substantial amount of money. If that's the case, if it still costs a significant amount of money compared to all these other services to send money to India or any other place using Western Union, then I believe that they will not survive in the future.
Well, you have to keep in mind that XRP is really based off of high volume transactions. So you're talking about your local bodegas, your gas stations, and things of that nature that have high volume transactions. You know, multiple transactions in a second. I don't think Western Union has the same sort of volume that they were looking for. And that's where there's a mismatch between technologies of XRP and Western Union's use of XRP. So maybe they're looking at different systems like IOTA or something else. I mean, obviously they're not going to mention it probably because they signed an NDA, but it sounds to me like they have to go through a proprietary route so that they can kind of protect themselves. And then if anybody else tries to duplicate the same actions that Western Union is doing, then what Western Union would do is they'll just sue them and try to make money that way too.
Well, they're in trouble anyway. If you think about it, you know, you go back, I guess, about 10 or 15 years ago, they were about the only show in town. And now, just imagine when, probably, I would say not if, but when we hear that Apple Pay and Google Pay, that they're getting into crypto. If those systems really take off, why will we even need Western Union?
Well, not just that, but now Huawei has filed a patent for blockchain-based. Not Huawei. I think it was Huawei and HTC both filed patents for blockchain-based smartphones. So you can have transactions per device. You can basically send a text message to somebody and send money that way per device.
Well, we talked about Facebook last year. They already have a way to send money, at least in the Messenger. I haven't used it, but I see the $sign there in Facebook. Mm-hmm. And of course, I forgot to mention Square Cash, you know, so
Square Pay.
Square Pay. Yeah, so it's like they're not Western Union's already not the only show in town. So
Yeah, so
the
that's
Well, they're
fight,
the most local show from a brick and mortar standpoint. If you're a local person in the black community and you're trying to get money to somebody in Dominican Republic or to Haiti or something like that, the only place you can go on the ground is to a Western Union or Checks Cash.
right? Check this out. What if you know they get a payment system integrated into WhatsApp? Oh,
Hmm.
now
WhatsApp is pretty big.
okay.
If they
Nah,
can get into WhatsApp.
Say that
Say it
again.
again.
I say if they can integrate it into WhatsApp, that would be a wrap.
Yeah, it would be pretty rough.
now
Well,
okay.
if Google can integrate it into the phone, I mean, into your text messaging, then it is game over because the Android platform actually has the capability of taking over SMS messaging and using it for Google Messenger.
Okay, now to piggyback what you just said, Mike. All right, just by listening to what you all was saying, I'll just amend what I said just a little bit. Okay, Western Union is still king of the hill in terms of brick and mortar. If the person you're sending money to doesn't have a bank or electronic device to receive the money, but as more and more people get these cell phones in their hands
No, he
across the
mean
world,
international, because we
yeah,
can
that's what I'm
always go
saying.
to Walmart in the
Yeah,
States.
well, that's what I'm saying. If someone's from the states sending money to Haiti, Dominican Republic, India, Africa,
Right.
anywhere else in the world, but the other person on the end on the other in the other country doesn't have a bank, or B, some type of electronic device in their hands, such as a cell phone, then yeah, it would be seen. It would sound more reasonable to go to a Western Union. But as more and more people across the world start to have pseudo banks in terms of in their cell phone, and more people have cell phones and you can send money through WhatsApp, through Western Union, through some of these messaging apps, then yeah, it's game over for Western Union. And at that point, I think it's in Western Union's best interest to get on a roller coaster and start and instead of trying to build your own thing, you're just going to be left behind and you're poof, you're gone.
Or they'll take their money and buy some Square Pay kind of
Nah,
services out there.
that's at that point. I don't think they will have enough money to buy them. Now I understand what you're
They
saying.
haven't.
They've been. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that they have enough cash on hand, so they're sitting on a lot of cash. It's just a matter of how are they going to utilize it, to their advantage, and they really don't have the wherewithal to see see the application standpoint of payment deliveries. So you may see them go out and recruit um some app developer from like Google or something like that, or somebody from like what do you call it, from Facebook. They'll find somebody that can actually develop it for them.
Now it will behoove them to use some of the cash to buy some type of small companies now before they get too big. Because once they get too big and all these people around the world start to get more and more mobile devices in their hand, then they won't. Me personally, I believe they won't have enough money to purchase these small companies.
But
I don't
what
think
about
that's going to
money?
matter.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say I don't think that's going to matter in terms of buying small company. You can't really buy your way out of everything. You're going to have to actually have some organic development in house in order to facilitate the future of your company, because buying companies out is not always the best interest. You can see what happened with HP. You can see what happened with Oracle. Many of these big companies tried to buy smaller companies and gobble them up, and that doesn't always work out too well for them.
We'll see.
Go ahead, Noah.
What about MoneyGram? What are they doing? If you guys know about it.
I thought Western Union and MoneyGram was the same.
Yeah, I did too. I could be.
They too do because they have their own separate. Well, I'm not saying this is indicative for them not being the same.
Didn't they merge? Did they merge?
Both
Yeah,
of
I
them have
thought they
their
all.
own stocks, different stocks.
Oh, well, then they're not there.
That's
Wow.
well, Hyundai and Kia both have different stocks, but in Korea they're one company.
Well,
No, and I mean no, it's the opposite. In America they're one company, but in Korea they're two separate companies. So could be just it could just be the fact that there was a merger and acquisition, but never a part in the ways of the two. Just Western Union is one company on the stock market, just
Okay, so
I guess for
Walmart
evaluation purposes.
is Walmart partnered with MoneyGram or Western Union or both?
I think MoneyGram.
Okay.
I just looked it up. They're two different companies. They're actually, rivals.
Okay, and they're both publicly traded?
I think so. I think one of them might actually be private. MoneyGram is the Texas one. I think no, they're both publicly traded. Yes.
And which has the largest market cap?
Okay.
Is there basically? I don't really know. I just want to know: is there a big difference in terms of market cap? That's what I want to know.
I'll look that up. You guys can do it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Just I'm just stating what I was stating because just by being in the crypto and hearing all these different companies coming up that are directly trying to compete with these two brick and mortar companies, and with the stuff we're hearing from China with WeChat, then I'm saying, okay, how I understand you can hire coders and such, but I think there's right now it's a hill to climb for them, and I don't think they want to wait for their hill to grow to become a mountain.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Mike, when you say acquisition doesn't always work. I hear you. I'm not disputing that, but our tradition, big companies, that's what they do. I mean, you're right. It doesn't always work, but that's what they do.
Right. I guess what I'm saying here is that overall is that they have a lot of cash to spend on proprietary development. So I'm not sure what's the process or what's holding them up. It's from the article, it says that they filed a patent. I mean, in 2016, I think that's what it said.
Right.
So it sounds like to me they've been looking at they've been looking at this for quite some time. So, and they're probably kicking themselves in the ass now because of the ballooning of Bitcoin, right? In 2016, I think Bitcoin was moving at something like $100 or something like that, less than that. And now Bitcoin skyrocketed to 20,000. They're probably trying to put the pedal to the metal, and they really don't know where they're going.
So we kind of like at that 1 year anniversary of when Bitcoin really took off. If you look at the chart in July of 2017. So I think what happened, Mike, was nobody really saw that coming, that it would take off like it did. And I think people are scrambling.
If you're a financial services company like Western Union, you got to be looking at the market all the time. You can't possibly look at the market and be like, oh, Bitcoin, nobody buy that. And then you wake up one morning as a CEO or the CFO, and you see the ballooning of Bitcoin and Bitcash and all the rest of the alternative currencies. You're like, oh fuck, what did I do wrong?
Right. Well, that's right. That's my point. Sometimes they get it wrong.
I think they're so big that, and I just looked up the market cap. Western Union is 2 or 3 times larger than MoneyGram. So I think they've just been comfortable. That's why they were asleep.
Ivory Tower.
Wow.
What would you say, Lionel?
I said they're in that ivory tower.
Right. I don't feel sorry for them.
Trust me, I
They're
don't.
a rip-off anyway. Yeah.
They're just in the way at this point right now. All right, let's get side. Let's get side next time.
I'm not going to miss going. I never liked going in the Western Union.
Oh man,
it was always a little sleazy. It was something it just felt sleazy, and I much prefer going into Walmart for the MoneyGram thing. It's just
the freaking
because they're predators. They're predators.
Yeah, but also it's like this is pretty bad. But the clientele in Western Union, you got adventures there in that line, man, waiting on that money. You got some stories to tell when you leave.
And then they look at you like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm like, dang.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's a good side. Hey, I understand what you're saying. I did it a time or two. All right, this is from News BTC. Excuse me. What, report 18% of people in Turkey own crypto compared to 8% in the US. Okay. 18% of people in Turkey own crypto compared to 8% in the United States, according to a study conducted by ING Bank. ING Bank polls find 35% Europeans agree Bitcoin is the future of spending online. Cracking the code on cryptocurrency surveyed about 1,000 respondents in each country to understand their attitude. That's not a big okay. To understand each country to understand their attitudes on the rise of digital currencies such as Bitcoin and what they might mean for our money. ING Bank, a Dutch banking and financial services corporation headquartered in Amsterdam, conducted a survey in 15 countries to a total of 14,828 participants in order to discover what each nation thinks about cryptocurrencies and what will their role be in consumer spending and investing. Jessica Exton, behavior scientist at ING's customer economics team, concluded that about a third, 35% in Europe, agree that Bitcoin is the future of spending online, while 32% of respondents are of the opinion that cryptocurrency is the future of investing. A further 29% indicated they would never invest in cryptocurrency. Regarding risk, while 30% find digital currencies riskier than shares, the other 70% would say otherwise. 46% of respondents see shares as less risky than cryptocurrencies, and 24% even say they're equally risky. This may be part of why cryptocurrencies seem to have less appeal for long term personal finance activities, such as receiving pay or saving for university, one than one off transactions, the report said. The ING Bank report concluded that a minority of Europeans would consider using digital assets as a means of payment for a cup of coffee, international online purchases, and children's university fees. Inter- Interestingly, larger shares in lower per capita income countries suggest they might consider investing or paying in cryptocurrency, Exton stated. Turkey leads the way amongst the 15 countries surveyed. As the weather, as to whether Bitcoin is the future of online spending, the majority of respondents in Turkey, 53%, agree or strongly agree with the statement, followed by Romania's 43%. Agreement was found in 31% of Americans, 25% of Brits, 18% of Australians, and 17% of the Dutch. The report pointed to a potential bias towards younger professional people with more exposure to media and technology with the Turkish online survey as well as with the Romanian. Nevertheless, nearly one in five, 80% in Turkey, say they own cryptocurrency compared to 9% in Europe and 8% in the United States, 7% in Australia, and 6% in the UK. Of the Romanian respondents, 12% said they held digital currencies. A larger number of respondents agreed to the idea of eventually owning cryptocurrencies in the future, with 25% of Europeans expecting that, compared to 15% of Australians and 21% of Americans. All right, so Mike, this you sent this to us. What about this um, article sticks out to you? Hello, am I still here?
Yes, you still here.
Oh, okay. Oh, uh,
Ah,
anybody?
What was your question again?
No, I was saying, Mike had put this on the dock. I was asking him what about that stuck out to him. How 18% of people in Turkey own cryptocurrency compared to 8% in the U.S.
Skepticism, I guess, is what's driving people in the U.S. not to own it. In Europe and other major states, major G20 states, they're looking at alternatives. They're looking at their national currencies or their state currencies just dwindling against the dollar. So they're looking at ways of hedging against it.
Right, especially Turkey. The Turkish lira has been taking a beating for the past, I'd say, like year.
So you all are saying nature is driving them to invest in an alternative.
Well, it's really how their dollar plays against the U.S. dollar, because that's what everybody else is playing against. They're not really playing against themselves. They're playing against the U.S. dollar. And if the U.S. dollar is such a gorilla at this point, it's like, well, if we can't win against that, we're gonna have to come up with some other alternative.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice number, 18%, compared to 8% of the people in the U.S. Because, like you said, the U.S. dollar, it being what it is, it's like, okay, what's the need? There's no need, a hurry need to invest in cryptocurrency, especially when you have the media saying whatever it's saying. I really don't pay attention to the mainstream, but whatever they're saying about cryptocurrency and all the other alternative coins in the news.
Well,
Go ahead.
The undereducated people on social media are also the ones downplaying the value of cryptocurrency. So you got people who are saying, I don't know if I really want to invest into that. You know, it's not really real money, or they have a very low understanding, very low literacy rate of what cryptocurrencies actually are. And then they go on Hangouts and they say, oh, well, that's just a Ponzi scheme. You Negroes don't know what you're doing. You know, your dishwashers, whatever.
Hey. I like how you weave that it's that it's everything, man. I like that. Zebra cakes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, the danger of that line of thinking is, when the price starts rising again, unfortunately, people that disconnect from these kinds of trends, they end up being the last ones to the party, and then they end up being the ones left holding the bag when it's over.
Right.
That's the sad part.
The early adopters are always the ones that are going to be told they're crazy, and that's what's the early Bitcoin, when it was online and people were using it to buy drugs or whatever. And then I'd say about like last year, maybe 2-3 years ago, that's when the businesses started moving in, startups, and then now the JP Morgan and banks and all sorts of people are now moving into the space. I think it's
Intel.
Intel. I think it's still early adopters still, but right now it's moving into the stage where it's no longer
the
French.
The owner of the Sacramento Kings, they mine Bitcoin, and I saw it on Yahoo. They were saying that when they got into the mining Ethereum business, the people they went to was the people in their IT department, because they were really the ones, and I'm just saying the first adopters. They were really the ones that knew a lot about it. So yeah, you have your first adopters, but you have also, like you said, these big whales coming in, these reputable people coming to the space. You can't really call it a Ponzi scheme anymore. You can't really call it monopoly money anymore. You can't really call it, oh, that's not money, it's not relevant. You can't really say that anymore. You have to pay attention, or else, like you say, Dollar Will, you're gonna get left. You're gonna get left behind. You're gonna get left carrying the bag, because when you finally get in, you're gonna buy at all-time highs.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think for the Sacramento Kings, they have a lot of computing resources that are just sitting idle most of the time. Most of the computing resources are just either hosting website or cracking numbers for statistics on players. So that's only 1 to 2% of your CPU usage. It's not really a whole lot of computational usage being done with their application. So why not leverage those those servers that they have against something like cryptocurrencies for mining purposes?
And they're also, their owner is more tech forward, tech thinking. Also,
I think I want to say he's Turkish. I'm not. I know he might be from the Middle East. I think he might be Armenian or he might be Turkish.
Look it up. From the looks of, I know I'm sound. No, okay. From the looks of, he looks Indian. So let's look it up. Owner Vivek Ranadev. He is from India. He's Indian. So, like we said earlier, India is like a tech powerhouse. So he's going to be open to that. Yeah. Okay. Is an Indian American businessman, engineer, author, speaker, and philanthropist. Ranadev is the founder and former CEO of TIBCO, a multi-million-dollar real-time computing company. And
No, I'll just finish.
Oh, and Technicron Software Systems. Yeah, so he's already.
Yeah, I used to I was just gonna say I used to support TIBCO systems too. So
yeah, so
that makes sense that he would. Go right ahead, Lano.
No, so he's already tech savvy and tech thoughtful.
Well, so is Steve Ballmer as well for the Clippers. You remember he came from Microsoft. He was head of Microsoft.
He do own the Clippers.
Mark Cuban as well, from Dallas Mavericks, another tech guy. He used to be a software engineer.
Maybe this is catch on. Maybe when they see them making money, maybe these are the two and other people. And that's the quote unquote slippery slope in terms of going up. They see one person doing it and say, okay, they make money, let's go into it. And all of a sudden you see this avalanche of people going into it.
Well, keep in mind that those teams weren't making money to begin with, right? They weren't big brand name teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Lakers or Miami Heat or New York Knicks. They're not tier 1 teams. They're actually lower tier teams, and so they're probably looking at every alternative use of their computational power and their human resources to actually benefit the franchise itself.
Okay.
The Portland Trailblazers was also, if I remember correctly, is owned by Paul Adelman. I think he came from I want to say he came from Microsoft as well.
Get up, Portland.
I think his name is Paul Adelman.
Trailblazers. I'll say owner. Okay, let me see. Yeah, Paul Allen. Paul Allen, as one does when you're the co-founder of Microsoft and owner of the Seattle Seahawks and Portland Trailblazers, Paul Allen. Okay. So these tech guys owning sports teams. Okay. All right. I can dig it, man. Any other points before we get to our last topic of the evening before the open mic?
Go ahead.
All right. Let's share this screen. Now we're going to talk about a real Ponzi scheme here now. All right, this is from Cointelegraph.com. This is by Anna Alexandra from July 6th. YouTube added as defendant in class action lawsuit against BitConnect. According to court documents filed July 3rd, YouTube has been added as a defendant in a class action lawsuit against BitConnect. The lawsuit was initially filed on January 24th by 6 individuals represented by law firm Silver Miller. The claimants state that crypto investment platform BitConnect issued crypto tokens that were unregistered securities and obtained additional funds through a wide-ranging Ponzi scheme. The plaintiffs said that their personal losses totaled $771,000. BitConnect allegedly used the funds received from new investors to meet the expectations of the existing ones. Per court documents acquired by Cointelegraph, BitConnect and its affiliated parties posted a number of promotional videos on YouTube which were deemed inappropriate, as the material allegedly lured potential investors to a fraudulent investment scheme. YouTube is said to have failed to delist and demonetize the published videos, which exposed countless YouTube users to injurious videos and illegally promoted investments. The top 10 BitConnect affiliates on YouTube reportedly posted more than 70,000 hours of unedited content, which generated 58 million views. The document says that the number of views of several of the affiliate promoters' videos greatly exceeded the threshold numbers for the enhanced eligibility standards. Notably, a fair number of users notified YouTube of fraudulent activity by BitConnect, posting videos with such titles as How BitConnect Scam Works in Great Detail. Craig Grant explains the BitConnect scam, and others. In an email to the Cointelegraph, David Silver of Silver Miller said, and I quote, oh, excuse me, this case is not about YouTube being the speaker or publisher of the content on its website. Instead, liability and predicated on YouTube's failure to act after learning from content directly published on YouTube of the readily foreseeable harm posed by its advertising partners. As the old adage says, sometimes when you lie with dogs, you get fleas. End quote. The claimants state that if YouTube had conducted an appropriate search of its databases, it would have delisted the harmful BitConnect videos. Instead, YouTube allegedly accepted a growing number of BitConnect related videos, which resulted in numerous victims, including many members of the class. The document also refers to Google LLC, which changed its financial products policy to ban all cryptocurrency related ads and associated content due to a potential harm to users of Google owned platforms, including YouTube. The document concludes, quote, YouTube failed as a gatekeeper to protect its users from and warn its users of the very harm YouTube set out to prevent with its advertising protocols and proprietary algorithms, end quote. All right, three things I just want to say real quick. The first thing is this is really backing what you said, Dollar Will, when you said the U.S. government really want to look out for the people because you don't know how many people retirements are going to be wiped out, and with the 700 total losses, totally 771,000. I wonder how many retirements were wiped out in that. B, why are you blaming YouTube for your bad decisions? I no. And three, it's a class action lawsuit, so you're not going to get close to what you lost back.
Right.
That's all I want to say.
Man, YouTube can't catch a break, man. Everyone is coming after them.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna, it's not gonna stick.
I don't think that they're what to be worried about is them getting sued necessarily. I think now they're going to start to try to crack down on cryptocurrency YouTube channels. Whoever does that on their YouTube platform, they're gonna be screwed.
Right, because they see it.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was gonna say that they see these because they said unedited hours of content. So that sounds like to me that they're having these live streams in Hangouts, Google Hangouts, because they're unedited. So I see these channels as being propaganda channels and quote unquote fake news, so to speak. So they could be accused of spreading misinformation for the most part. But we don't do that over here. We have disclaimers at the beginning.
I don't know. I guess I think Yahoo's going to be all right. I think we're going to need a.
YouTube.
I'm sorry. Yeah, YouTube. I'm sorry. YouTube is just in a. Yeah, I guess I'm editing myself as I was before the words came out. I was about to say they're sort of like a common carrier, but are they? Not really. In the sense that, the telephone company, you can't sue the telephone company because somebody called you up and harassed you, and the telephone company doesn't have anything to do with the content. But YouTube is kind of in a tricky place because they do get involved in telling you what you can and cannot say. They have policies that restrict your communication, so they put themselves in it in that regard. And because they're selling time on your content, that they're in bed. YouTube and the advertisers are in bed with you and your message, no matter what your message is.
Right, they have to safeguard their medium because their medium will become a utility at some point for content sharing. In the same way that Google is almost considered a utility service because everybody uses it for as a search engine.
So what YouTube will, they could demonetize all of the crypto. I think it'll blow over because what's the difference between a crypto recommendation and a bad penny stock recommendation?
Well, if you're not a licensed or chartered financial planner or CFA, and you're giving out this financial advice without being licensed or certified, then I would assume that those are grounds to actually terminate your content. That you're in violation at this point.
Yeah, but if people, why I think we're probably going to have a case to clarify all this stuff. So I don't think people can make an argument that a YouTube person that they believe a YouTube person is a licensed advisor. Okay, because I say in the front of my videos, no, I'm not. Get your own, go get one. I'm not. We're just sharing our opinion. And so I think that's what most YouTube people are doing. So, but I understand people have to accept accountability for the decisions that they make. And so I think we're going to get a case that's going to reaffirm that point that, no, it's not even going to, that dog's not going to hunt, that you thought that the YouTube person expressing their opinion was licensed and therefore they are responsible for the outcome of you following their opinion.
Right. And some of the people will accept responsibility for their bad decisions, the better you start to make better decisions.
Actually, let me flip it this way. How many licensed financial advisors have you seen on YouTube? Have you seen any? Let me ask it this way. Have you seen any?
One or two in my years on YouTube. That's like years.
I don't think I've seen any.
There's some that talks about how to they've gotten their financial their CFP certification, and they talk about how to go about doing it, and they talk about how the test was, but they don't really go in depth and
give you advice.
Right.
That's what I mean. So the nature of YouTube, by definition, the nature of the thing is that it's a forum for people to express their opinions. It's going to be pretty hard, I think, to get a court to buy the argument that you thought the person you was listening to on YouTube was licensed.
Nah, that dog ain't gonna hunt.
That dog ain't gonna hunt. Now they might come down with a rule that says that instead of everybody like putting up these introductory statements, like I say in the front of my video, instead of people doing that, they probably will say, if you are certified, this you have to display it. And that would be the best way to go about it. And that way, if you don't see the certification emblem on the video, then that means they're not certified.
I think even then it doesn't really make sense. If I were, for example, a certified financial planner or, investment maker or whatever, I would still at the beginning say, consult with your local or your own, financial planner, because then those people don't want to be held responsible if they give out some tips and, turns out bad.
I'm with you, because even if I was certified, you're right, I still would like disavow responsibility, because first of all, I don't know you, I don't know your risk tolerance, I don't know your age, I don't know anything about how these investments match with your life and your goals and how many dependents you have, and your like I said, your risk tolerance. Hello?
I know you did.
What were you getting ready to say, Mike?
I actually wasn't about to say anything. I thought Lionel was going to say something.
Oh.
I think his computer hung up again.
No, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. No one in the right line is gonna try to give out financial advice. Well, they will give out financial advice, but then they don't want to be held responsible for it. You know what I mean? So everyone's gonna have that disclaimer in the beginning of go to your financial advisor for more in depth.
Oh, I tell you what, that would scare me off of YouTube, man. If I hear that somebody got sued on YouTube for sharing their opinion. I mean, I know when I started trading, I made a decision early on. I don't want to handle anybody's money. I don't want to be responsible, for investing anybody's money. I knew that. I was clear on that right from the beginning. And I just want to handle my own money, because it's hard enough dealing with, my own mistakes, my own trading mistakes when I lose my own money. I don't want that stress of losing someone else's money.
We don't know who the people who are giving out this advice, how much they've invested into some of these coins and currencies. So I guess I agree with Dollar Will that you would have to see some form of use case put in place before we can make a complete evaluation.
Right.
But I also could see, I guess this is open hour now because Lionel is gone. But also I can also see that new startups giving out loans based on cryptocurrencies. And bankrolling these people into it.
Wait, what did you say? Could you repeat that?
I said I can also see new startups giving out loans in cryptocurrencies.
I can see that. You check this out. How about this? Okay, remember when this was prior to 2011, when the dollar was in that stage of the death spiral. We had some Hollywood actors requesting to be paid in euros. They did not want to be paid in US dollars. I think we're going to have a major celebrity request to be paid in cryptocurrency.
I don't remember that ever happening with the euro. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they did not. There's some major artists, like actors, like signing movie contracts. They wanted to be paid in euros. They did not want US dollars. You know,
And this was 2007.
like it's just before 2011, before the dollar bottomed in 2011.
Did it rebound in 2011 too, or no?
Oh, well, the dollar has been rising. Let's see, the dollar, the bottom was 20 in year 2011. The highest peak since then was in December of 2016. And that's the big question we're everyone's debating right now. Is the dollar falling from that high, or is the dollar going to take out that high from 2016, December 2016, and go higher? I'm of the camp that the dollar is going to overtake that high and go higher, which means that we are still in an uptrend from the low in 2011. So we're kind of in limbo about what the heck is going on with it. But yeah, so it got so bad that actors, I wish Ulysses was here. I'm sure he would remember it. It got so bad that some actors wanted to be paid in euros. So it's not but a big stretch for me to think that some of them are going to want to be paid in crypto, maybe Bitcoin. But when that happens, can you imagine the public relations value of that? You know, some major actor who's signing a maybe $50 million, $30 million for a movie, and they say, "Pay me in Bitcoin."
That'd be huge news.
Yeah. I wonder if it can be Googled. If I can, let me see if I can find that. Actors request to be paid in you.
Just to
You remember that, Lionel? Back in the day, before 2011, when some major actors requested to be paid in euros instead of US dollars.
no, I wasn't paying attention at that time. I wasn't even paying attention. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just make a point on the last topic before I dropped off. In the beginning of these videos, I do say all views and opinions expressed are a personal opinion, and if you do want to have any other insight, then go to the CFP board. And I do go to the website and tell them to put in your state address, county, and you find a CFP close to you. So I do say that at the beginning of these videos, Monday to Friday videos.
Well, we appreciate it.
You can get your own certified financial planner. That's what they're there for. And I showed you where to get it, cfp.net.
Let's see. I think I got one just in that little quick search. Let me put this in the inside chat here. And this wasn't, but check that out, fellas. You can bring Lionel, bring that article up I just put in the chat here inside.
All right, yeah, I'll share this.
Just so that
Giselle Bundchen. Pay me in euros, not dollars.
Yeah, so this was in 2007, but there were it got to be a pretty, it was a growing thing, you know.
I would say she would be one of the people, if you would think whoever would do that, because she's from Brazil and like her parents are from Brazil and Europe, so I would think she's keen to all, or she knows some type of working knowledge to what's going on.
Is this Tom Brady's?
Yes, his wife.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so yeah, if that happens again and some major celebrity says pay me in cryptos, man. Let's see. Just to change the subject slightly, while you were talking on one of those articles, I was trying to find out. I'm still on this potato chip thing, okay? I'm trying to find out what it is. I don't have the complete answer, but I don't even know how this relates, and if it relates. But apparently, there is a sharp increase in potatoes in Delhi and Turkey. So I can't imagine that we're getting the potatoes from Turkey that go into potato chips in America. It could be, but that's a long way to go for a potato.
Is potatoes on any of the sanctions lists? Yeah, maybe that could be it.
That I'm gonna keep looking into this. I don't know. I'm gonna find out because, like I said, Walmart's potato chips went up 40%. That's huge, from 80 cents to 112. That's huge. So keep your eyes open for that. You might see it. Somebody some company may have an earnings announcement and you might hear about it. I don't go to the fast food places, but if anybody goes to a fast food place and like the Golden Arches, places known for French fries, if there's something going on with potatoes, you should see it there. If so let us know if you go to a fast food place and you see the price of French fries go higher.
Well, is that it before I shut the broadcast off?
That's all I got.
All right. Anybody else?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining our Money Making Friday. Don't forget to tune in Monday for our automation, technology, space, AI, and blockchain show. Same bad time, same bad place. And with that said, I'll check you all later.
Peace.